Well, the NFL trade deadline was today. Came and went. 4 p.m. Eastern Time has arrived as of about half an hour ago, a little bit more than half an hour ago. And as to be expected, the Steelers made no moves. Actually, they did make moves today. MVS and a couple of practice squad guys. This was a trade deadline that was one of the more active trade deadlines. Really, since 2020, we've been seeing more active trade deadlines, but this one especially getting started off with a bang. Logan Wilson going to the Cowboys, and then, of course, the big news of the day, Sauce Gardner to the Colts. The Jets were selling big at the deadline, and there were really three guys that the Steelers were being linked to all week. Jakobi Meyers, who ended up getting traded to the Jaguars for a 4th and 6th round pick. Rashid Shaheed, who it was somewhere in that ballpark was what he got traded for to the Seahawks. And then it was kind of a toss-up between Chris Olave, I heard a lot about. There were some rumblings of Allen Lazard. There were a couple rumblings of, maybe Garrett Wilson, but those were the main names that the Steelers were kind of looking out for. Why there was no move made today baffles me. It is the same exact situation that we found ourselves in last year, where we are at the trade deadline and in need of a wide receiver too, and no moves are made. Last year, the Steelers, to I guess everyone's surprise, did make somewhat of a move picking up Mike Williams, but you can't even really call that a move when I recall one play I saw Mike Williams make last year. That was the sideline catch versus the Commanders to win that game. And other than that play, I don't remember much of Mike Williams last season. That's all I can think of when I think of Mike Williams' time here last year. So the fact that we didn't pick up a wide receiver again just blows my mind. It's the exact same outcome. We saw how the season ended last year. We had George Pickens on the team, and we brought DK Metcalf in thinking, finally, we've got a star wide receiver and another really great playmaker to pair with him. We had DK and George Pickens for a solid 2 minutes before we trade George Pickens to Dallas for nothing, for a bag of peanuts. And then it was, okay, we've got DK Metcalf. Can we find something? Can we draft a receiver? Maybe Roman Wilson's going to be that guy. There's still plenty of time before the season begins. We can maybe make a trade for somebody. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And we sit here again, finding ourselves in the same exact spot that we were in last season, not having another number 2 option to free up some space for wide receiver 1, and it shows. We can't get hardly anything going on offense, and all that we do get going on offense is strictly because of Aaron Rodgers making Arthur Smith's play calling look better. DK Metcalf has dropped some passes. A lot of the time, he's not open. Aaron Rodgers has to force passes to DK Metcalf. And you can only throw the ball to the tight ends so much before people start realizing, hey, maybe we need to cover these guys too. It's hard to game plan when there are 2 or 3 people that you look at and they're getting the ball 10, 15 times this game. There are moves that could have been made on both sides of the football. I think Asante Samuel or Asante Jackson, the Chargers' former cornerback who got cleared medically to play today. Why they didn't pick him up? He is still a free agent. There's no needing to trade for him. He is a free agent. You can pick him up at any time, but I think the Steelers should. But that's going to help with the cornerback slot immediately. Why they haven't picked him up yet, I'm not really sure. I guess you can wait on that. Again, there's no deadline. He is a free agent. You can pick him up whenever. But why they wouldn't trade for a wide receiver or try to do anything? They said the asking price was too steep for Jakobi Meyers, who got traded for a 4th and a 6th round draft pick. You're not going to win by being conservative. You should have learned that lesson at any point within the past 20 years. There hasn't been a lick of success in this team for almost a decade. And you could go back really even further than that. But at least they were winning playoff games and looking competitive a decade ago. If Mike Tomlin goes to the playoffs and loses in the first round this year, that's going to be 10 straight first round losses. I don't know what more needs to happen to show the front office and to show everybody that you can't just keep doing the same thing year after year and being conservative at the trade deadline and not making moves and paying people and taking the chance to get better players and to build a good football team. I didn't expect a lot today. I knew how this trade deadline was going to go. But when the Jets are selling and you've got Garrett Wilson right there, when you could make an offer and see what is the asking price for Jalen Waddle, what is the asking price even for Breece Hall? I love Jaylen Warren, but the Jets clearly were having a fire sale. Ask around, do something. There were reports that they asked around about Marvin Harrison Jr. He was not on the trade block, as far as I'm concerned, at all. Why you would waste your time trying to get a player or asking around about him and him not being on the trade block kind of blows my mind. Props to the Steelers if they really did reach out and ask, but you need somebody. Go find somebody that's actively being shopped and make something happen. And don't sit here and say that you can't afford to give up a 4th round or a 6th round draft pick. You're going to have to. It's the NFL. The con artist isn't going to be able to sit there and fleece every GM and get every player he wants for cheap. I will admit, Omar Khan has made some fantastic trades. He has absolutely fleeced people before, but he has to understand that this is a business. He's not always going to be able to get a star wide receiver for a 6th round draft pick. It's just not, it's not going to happen. Sometimes you're going to have to pay a little bit more. And until he learns that, it's going to be no big moves. The Steelers are just going to sit quiet at the deadline every year like they have been doing for the past however many years. Really, as long as I've been alive that I can remember. I can't remember a time where they were actively shopping at the deadline. And this comes after Tomlin had his press conference today saying, oh, I like shopping, we're going to have to see what happens. And then nothing happened. MVS and a couple practice squad players. That's the trade deadline pickup. Are we serious? They beat the Colts last week. I got to give them props for that. But it doesn't change the fact that this season has a ceiling of 10-7 and a first round playoff loss, exactly like the other past 10 seasons have been. No matter how bad or no matter how good the season starts off, we can always tell by about this time, okay, we beat some really good teams. We also lost to teams that we have no business losing to, or we kept this game way too close for comfort when we should have blown this team out. It's every single year, and at some point you would really think that things would change. There were so many viable options at the deadline that I just don't understand how coming away with nobody happened. It's setting up to look exactly the same as the other past 10 seasons. And it's going to come because the Steelers knew that they didn't have a roster that was capable of actually going out and winning. They haven't moved that needle yet. They haven't moved from, playoff teams to playoff contenders. And that's how it goes every year. I'm not sure what needs to change to show them that they need to actually start pursuing players. The DK Metcalf trade in the offseason was fantastic, and it really gave me hope that maybe this was the year that they were all in. They were going to start making these moves and getting this talent, and they were ready to go and move that needle and move on from the standard is the standard. It's going to be a new standard that the Pittsburgh Steelers are here to win football games and be competitive. And I'm not seeing it. I'm absolutely just not seeing it. We got the rest of the season to look forward to. So we'll win about, I think we're at 5-3 right now. We'll win about 4 or 5 more games. Play probably the Bills, maybe Ravens first round of the playoffs, and we'll lose. I mean, that's just how it is. I could be wrong. I really don't think I am, though. Just definitely a really disappointing trade deadline. But I guess there's crazier things that have happened. Maybe this team really doesn't need any big additions, and Calvin Austin's going to come back and be good. Roman Wilson, maybe he's going to start to show some flashes. I don't think so. I've seen this enough. I don't want to get my hopes up again. We'll see what happens, though.